follow along kind of learning. When I do something, you want to do it as well. That also work. If that works for you, just go ahead with it. The video is here, it's not going anywhere. You can feel free to come back and rewatch as many times as you like. And at the end of the video, if you feel it's you gain insight, you learn something, you love something about it, do well to leave a comment. If you feel something can be improved, something can be made better, do well to also leave a comment. Okay, and feel free to like and share with your friends who also wants to learn data analysis. Okay, so let's jump into it without further ado. Okay, we'll be starting with the interface first, right? So we want to understand our Excel interface. Where can we, oh, I want to create something, where can I go? I want to do data validation, where's the right place to go in all of those things. All right, from there we'll now move into basic formulas, basic mathematical formulas such as plus, minus, you're adding two things, you're multiplying and all of that. And when we're done with that, then we now move into cell reference, because from formulas it's important we understand cell references, how Excel works, right? Then after that we can now move into functions and then keep going like that. Okay, so back to the interface. I like to start from the bottom. Okay, so we have fewer options here. To add a sheet, you just have to click on the plus button right there. You see it says new sheet. By hovering on it alone, it gives you a little tooltip, okay, a little description that, oh, this is what you're about to do, right? And that's the beauty of the way softwares are developed this way. You want to find out about something, I mean, from the UI and everything, they use signs, symbols, things you're familiar with. Because for any new phone or whatever technology it is, you will be able to easily tell where the settings will be. Why? Because they'll probably use an icon or a symbol you've always seen. Let's say the 3 bars stacked on top of each other, or 3 dots, or a gear icon, whatever it is, something familiar. Okay, you always get to see that. All right, let's continue what we're doing. So I want to add a new sheet. So in case you want to explore, yeah, I'm using a lot of content creation is crazy, but I'm not sure this is content creation. Thumb ups too. Okay, not thumb ups, thumb ups. See, I'll be natural. Okay, I will not be too serious or trying to make this perfect, because if I do, I trust me, I've cancelled some videos even before I get to this point, so I'll just flow. Okay, bear with me, right? Trust me, you get all the value you need to get from this video, but I'll be as natural as possible. Okay, all right. So to add this new sheet, we just have to click here. I was going to say, when you want to, I just mentioned the fact that you get all this tooltip. So in case you want to explore on your own, right? See, I come up here, you can follow my cursor. I come up here. I don't know what this is. I can just hover on it. Oh, and it says orientation, right? Rotate your text diagonally or vertically. This is a great way to label narrow columns. You see, interesting. So I can click on the drop down to see the options I have, just like that. I've learned something new. Okay, so you get all of those options there. Just over on it. I don't know what this does. I just bring my cursor there. So it says sum, alt plus equal to. Oh, that's the shortcut. Nice. It says automatically add it up. Your total will appear after the selected cells. That's nice. So I've learned that, right? So that means in case I have something like 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, and I want to do an auto sum. Well, I remember the shortcut, so alt equal to, boom, just like that. Then I have the sum, right? So that's how easy it is. I just learned something new, right? So this is the beauty of the way software are developed these days, and they keep improving them to make them better. Now, if this were to be in a table, okay, let me just do that quickly. Of course, I'll still cover all of that. And just do Control T. My table has headers, no. So if this were to be in a table and I do the auto sum, it will not prompt me to, it will not show the highlight that it showed earlier. Okay, so let me show you what I mean. Alt equals to, you see, it was fast, it just gave me the solution. Unlike when I did this, okay, unlike when I did this, alt equal to, it was still asking me, right? It wanted me to hit enter. That is this what I want to do? Because by default it's not in a table, so it does not automatically, it wants to be sure that is this the range or there's something somewhere else. But for a table, it automatically knows the range. Okay, so now I have 15. So let me show you why this is different again. Alt equals to, you see, did that, it showed it, and then boom, closed it that way. And it's a named column. See, it's named the cell range automatically and calls it subtotal. All right, that's that. By the way, so let's jump back here. So to add a new sheet, just click on the plus button and you can see a new sheet. So I can, by default, when you open the Excel workbook, you get a blank sheet. Sheet 1 is by default. Okay, so I want to rename this sheet now. I just have to double click on it and call it, let's say, first sheet. Right, so I can call this first sheet. Just as I said, at some point I might get fast. Just make sure you play back the video, rewatch, or put it at a playback speed that you can follow through it. Okay, so first sheet, I just rename that. I can rename this second sheet. Okay, so what if I want to reorder them? I want to bring second sheet forward, right? I just have to left click on my mouse trackpad on your laptop, and you can see, if you pay attention, you see that there's this small icon, this small black icon here. So once I move my hand, I slide my hand forward, it moves and it says I want to drop here. So once I release my hand, it drops there. So that is how I reorder the sheet. Now this is something for people who are not so used to computers. This is something you might want to practice over and over again, because at first it might seem intimidating. Oh, you're not getting it, it's not moving, it's not dragging. Or you might accidentally even say double click, do something like this, and then you're editing your sheet already. Okay, so make sure you just left click, you're not editing, then you slide your hand. You can see that it's peaked. So it's holding it. I'm holding the left click, and then I can drag wherever it is I want to drag to. All right, now there's something about naming sheets. There are some characters you cannot use, and you cannot leave it empty. For example, okay, I've just add a new sheet. Click on the plus button again. Let's say I do this, I clear everything first, and I click out. So it tells me you type an invalid name for a sheet or chart. Make sure that the name that you type does not exceed 31 characters. So that's the maximum characters. If it's more than that, it's not going to work. The name does not contain any of the following characters: a column, a backward slash, forward slash, question mark, asterisk, square brackets. And lastly, you did not leave the name blank. Now this is common as a beginner, or whatever level you are. You might probably have faced this before when you were a beginner, right? Where you were about typing something and accidentally you wanted to click outside the sheet name box, right? You've not named the sheet, but accidentally you clicked outside and you don't know what to do, and then you're clicking OK, or you're just trying to click out, right? It's what beginners does, right? You click OK, you see, now you want to do something else, you've forgotten about this guy here, so you're clicking here, it comes back, and then it can be so frustrating. So all you have to do is just come back here and give it a name. So call this third sheet. I'll call this third sheet. Okay, yeah, there you go. So you have I've been able to rename the sheet. See, in case I want to delete a sheet, which is, you have to be careful because Excel gives a warning. Let's say I right click on this and I click on, now to delete, you right click and you click on delete. Now it's gone. If I this, that's Control Z that I just hit. It's not coming back, right? It's not coming back. That means the sheet is gone. So you might want to be careful when you are deleting a sheet. Let's say you don't want the sheet, but you don't want to delete it as well. Probably you want to keep it later for reference purposes, but you don't want it appearing here. One thing you can do is to hide the sheet. Okay, instead of deleting. How do you hide? You right click again on that same sheet name. Now, this is a common error. When you're right clicking, you double click accidentally and then this is highlighted. Okay, and when you're right clicking, until if this sheet is still active, your right click will not work. Okay, so you have to click out, right, then right click again, then you see hide right here. Okay, so you can hide your sheet. So if I hide it, you can see that that sheet is hidden. I can right click again. Now if I want to hide this, tell me no, your workbook must contain at least one sheet, and that is why when you open Excel, by default it comes with a single sheet. Okay, so from here I can unhide other sheets. I'll right click again and go to unhide. Now see the list of the sheets that were hidden. So I can click on the one I want, or hold control to select the ones I want to unhide, and then click OK. Then it comes back right here. Okay, so what else can you do? You can give it a color tab. Say, let me give this a yellow color. Excuse me. Okay, so you can see that's the color. So you can give this a green color, a red color, for any reason, right? I want to annotate the colors, right? Okay, so those are two important things. Of course, I know you see more options here, but I'll probably explore them in another way. So now we can add a sheet, we can delete a sheet, we can hide a sheet, we can reorder the sheet. Now, if you pay attention to this place, see, it says right plus left, control plus left click to scroll to the first sheet. Then this will be what? Control. Then you right click to see all sheets. Now, this is only active. This button currently is not active. So for it to be active, you need to have as much sheet as possible. When you need to scroll, that's when it becomes active. So I'll just do that by adding more sheets. Just pay attention here. Once I hit more than the number of sheets that my view can take, it automatically activates. So you can see that this guy is activated now. Can I take this back? Now it's working. Or let me say I delete a few sheets. Just keep your eyes here. Let me say I delete these 3 sheets. Now this is still working, okay, but now it's not working again. Okay, I can't scroll because everything is here. All right, so that is when you use this. And of course your scroll bar right here is just for you to scroll this way, scroll this way, scroll this way, scroll this way. For those who use computer often, you can use your 2 fingers on your laptop, okay, to scroll. You're saying just 2 fingers together, then you slide your hand to the left to scroll right, and you slide your hand to the right to scroll left. You slide your 2 fingers downwards to go up, and you slide your 2 fingers upward to go down. Do you understand? So that's how you do it. And of course you can just use these bars right here to go up and down, okay, as you please, right, as you please. So the zoom option here, sometimes it can be annoying using this zoom, not always, sometimes. Maybe you want a zoom level and then you're clicking plus and it's slow, or you're trying to click on these buttons and it's jumping where you don't want. Okay, one perfect function here, this is where you can zoom in anyway, is to click on the numbers itself, on those figures there, and then you select from the list of options you see here, or you can just type in whatever you want. For example, I'll type in 150 for me, and boom, I have the zoom option for 150. Okay, so those are the options, key options that we have down here. I'll delete these extra sheets. I will delete them. So we have just first sheet and second sheet. So I'll bring my first sheet backwards to the right order. Okay, now that's that about that. So probably after this major interface, I might stop the video before when I move to the ribbons. Okay, so that it doesn't get too long. You have something you're able to follow through. Okay, now let's come up. So I've seen whatever we have down here. Now I want to come up here a little. So I want to look at the numbers and the alphabets. So what are these numbers? What are these alphabets before now go up here? So the alphabets represent the columns. So columns are vertical, top to bottom. Those are columns. So we have column A, column B, column C, column D, column E, column F, all the way down to about AXFD. So XFD, Let me check quickly. Okay, just a minute. Where are we? Okay, just a minute. Yeah, so except D, that's correct. So up to except D, excuse me. So, excuse me. So we have up to except D. Okay, so just jump back. Okay, we're back here. And we have for rows, these are the rows. Don't forget verticals are the columns. And this way, horizontal are the rows. Okay, we have row 1, row 2, row 3. We have about 1,048,576, right? Thereabouts. So one thing you can use for them to navigate is when you hold your control, then the direction you want to move to. Okay, then it goes that way. You hold your control, then it goes to the direction you want to move to. All right, so it goes all the way down. It stops at the non-blank cell first, then goes all the way down. So that's the way it works. So that's that about that. So let's move on to the next thing. So these are our rows and these are our columns. Now the intersection between a row and a column is called a cell. The intersection between a row and a column is called a cell. So let's look at what I'm saying. Now this place, this is where row C, column C, my bad, and row 3 meets this place, this particular place, right? And that place is called a cell. So where a column and a row meet, that is called a cell. So an intersection between a row and a column is called a cell. So this is cell C3. So it takes the name of the column first, then the row. So it takes C3. And how do we see it? Now you notice that your ribbon are probably displaying normally, but mine is just showing the names. So if I click on them, it comes up, then it covers what we're trying to see. So that means it is unpinned, right? I can pin it and I can unpin it. If I click, it appears. If I click out, it goes. Sometimes you want to do that to just, maybe you're working on a dashboard, for example, and this is the zoom level you want to keep. You're trying to look at the space, use the entire space you have and all of that. You want to do that, or for whatever reason. How do you do it? You want to unpin and pin quickly. So this is unpinned currently, and I can still use it. So I'll click, do whatever I want to do, click out, then it goes. Whatever I want to keep it fixed, right? I want to pin it. I just have to double click, then it stays pinned like that. You see? So if I want to unpin it again, I just have to double click, then it disappears. It can come when I need it and go when I don't. So I'll click it again to pin it. Now I've pinned it. So we're here, C3, right? We're in C3. Now you notice that something else is also missing. Excuse me, which is the formula bar, right? I know. I'll just bring it back quickly. Right. Okay. So now I have my formula bar back, and the cell name, the name box. I mean, so I have everything back. Okay. All right. So here is my C3, and you can see that I can tell so from the name box as well. Okay. The name box tells you the cell you're currently on, or if you have a named cell, it will also show down here. So let's say I just want to scroll randomly, just go somewhere far, and I click here, and I ask you, which cell am I currently in? You don't need to start tracing all the way down and all the way to the right. It can be confusing, right? You might miss the way and all of that, though Excel did a good job by highlighting, right? So you can just see 258X, so that's X, column X, row 258, and you can see it here directly, which is the best option. You can see that by hovering on it, it tells me that this is a name box, right? So that is one good thing. So let's jump back up. Just go back up here, and then I scroll this way. I'm back here. Okay. By default, this control and up is supposed to go directly. I'm sure if you try it, that's gonna work. I'm not sure why that is misbehaving this morning. Okay. All right. So we can see our cell reference or cell name from this name box up here. If I click here, you see it. If I click here, you see it. If I click here, you see it. If I click here, you see the cell I'm in. And you can rename the cell reference. Okay, for example, I don't want this to be called B2. I want it to be called big guy. For whatever reason, I can't have space between my naming convention here. Okay, so see that I use an underscore to connect the names. So I just type them together like this, big guy, but I'll prefer to separate them with an underscore so that it's more visible. So big guy. Okay, so if I click on it now, it shows big guy. If I go away, I click on it, it shows big guy. What's one advantage of this? It has numerous advantages, though when it's numerous might be an overstatement. But yes, it does have some good advantages. Now, when your cell is in a table, when your data is in a table, I mean, remember when we did the auto sum here, when I put one into a table, right? That is how a table looks like. Of course, we can change the styling and all of that. So when it's in a table, you notice that the formula was showing column 1, right? So showing column 1, which is the title column. That means that entire cell range is column 1. So if I had renamed it to, let's say, numbers, that would be subtotal numbers. That means that range is named numbers, right? So in this case, what does that help us to do? For example, let's say I'm on second sheet and I want to jump back there. As long as I click on my name box, I'll see all the named, all the defined names in my name box. Okay, so if I click it, it acts like a navigation. You can see it takes me back to sheet 1. Let me go again, sheet 2 here. Click on this, go to the big guy, see it takes me back to sheet 1, right? So now I'm back here. That's one of the many advantages, but it helps well in writing complex formulas. For example, let's say I'll name this unit sold. Oh, excuse, pardon me. So B5, right? I'll name it unit sold. Unit sold, and I'll name A5 unit price. Okay, unit price. Price is spelled this way. Okay. Now I want to perform a calculation here, right? So let me put some values in there. Let's say 5. This is unit price, right? So let me say 5,000, and let's say 34. So copy this value. Let me just fill it down so you can see the difference between a named cell and the one that is not named. Okay. So let's change this to 5/6 and then this to 23. Okay. Now if I come here and I do this, okay, you can see how it came out nicely. Excuse me, unit price came out nicely, very fine. Multiplied by what? Unit sold. I mean, that is very descriptive. If I come here, I can see from my formula that is unit price multiplied by unit sold. Unlike this, if I do this, you can see I'm saying A6 and what? B6. Now if I come here, I might not remember what is A6, what is B6. I have to go, okay, well, what is this? Is this the unit price? Is the unit sold? See all of those things, right? But with a named cell or a cell range, right, you get this nice descriptive formulas, right? One of the advantages. Okay, I'll just take them out. Let's move on. The names are still there. Okay, the names are still there. If I want to delete them, I can also do that as well. So we can see that the intersection between a row and a column is a cell, and we can see that we can rename a cell and give it a special name for whatever reason we want to do that. Okay, so the next thing I want to do is to say add some data in here so that we can see how to insert new column, new row, adjust the height, adjust the width, and all of that. So I'll just go ahead and let's just say name, email, what else? Say department. Excuse me, department. What else? Okay, let me just stop at that for now. Let me stop at that. Yeah, I'll stop at that. So now we have the name, the email, and the department. one important thing first. If I type something else in column D, you can see obviously that column C is overflowing into column D. And say, for example, I put something else in column D, let's say allowances, it gets swept under column C, column D, I mean. So you can see that the department is not showing fully, right? How do I adjust that? Okay, how do I adjust that? All I have to do is come between the alphabet and make sure I'm on the column, the headings, right? The headings here, not the one I typed, this alphabet numbers, right? So I'll be on the headings. Now my cursor is very important. What my cursor is showing is important to me. We'll see that as well as we go, okay? Because a big plus button, as you can see right now, has a different function. If I come to this bottom, this black plus button is for a fill. It has a different function. So this is for filling or to duplicate, but we still fill. So for example, if I drag this down, you can see there's a fill option. Then I get this small button to do whatever it is I want to do. I will undo that. Yeah, quick one. Your basic Control C, Control V. You know, if you're used to Microsoft Word or you use Office packages and all of that, you're used to Control C, Control V, Control this. So they work perfectly here as well. Okay, just to mention. All right, back to this. So my big plus button is to highlight. If I do this, this is for highlighting the big plus button. If I am down the bottom right corner, this is for fill. Okay, but if I'm not at the bottom right, but at the edges, you can see at the edges like this. This is a four directional arrow, right? And I can use it to drag, so I can move things with it, right? Just to mention. Let's come back here. So let's look at this now. This is overlapping, is overflowing. So how do I correct it? If I come up here, currently because my cursor is on C, it's pointing downwards. That means I want to highlight. Selected the entire column, but that's not what I want to do. Okay, so what do I want to do? I want to come between C and D, where I have this two directional left and right. Right, this is where I can drag. So I will left click on my mouse trackpad and then slide my hand to the right to adjust it to make it bigger. What if I want it to automatically fit? Now, anything that has to do with dragging, highlighting, if you're just starting out, it might be a little bit of challenge. Okay, but you just have to practice and practice and practice until they're easy to do. Okay, but first time it might feel awkward, right, to do. Might feel awkward to do, but they're easy to do. All right, so what if I want the column not to be too much? It should just fit perfectly, like, you know, just not too much. I don't want extra spaces and all of that. Or I want it to fit the longest content in the entire column, right? Let me undo this. How can I do that? So I'll come back here again. Instead of dragging, instead of left clicking and dragging, I'll just double click and it expands it for me. You see, that's even faster, right? Exactly. So you just double click and it expands it to fit the column width. Okay, there are other ways to do this. There's the faster ways. Okay, we'll still look at one more. And let me undo again. Now I will intentionally collapse others, make them smaller. So what if I want to do everything at once, right? I want to do everything at once. How do I get that done? I will highlight the entire sheet by clicking on this button here that sits between the numbers and the column. As I click on it, you can see that everywhere is highlighted. Now I will come between any of the alphabet. It doesn't matter whether it's the one I want to actually expand. I can just come here, then double click. Excuse me. And you can see how everything automatically fits. Right, everything automatically fits. Let me do that again. Everything is highlighted. Double click here. See it fits again. Squeezed right down. Anyway, I can just come here this time. Double click. Then expand. That way, easy peasy. Okay, so that is how to do it. And what we just did for the row, and most of the things we would do for the row, for the column, pardon me, will also apply to the row. What we just did for the column also applies to the row. What does that mean? Let me show you quickly. let's say I squeeze in, just squeeze all of this in. For example, you see, I can barely see 1, 2, 3, right? They have been squeezed in, and I want to expand them automatically. I'll click on the entire sheet and come between any number and double click, and everything expands. Okay. If I want to do it one by one, I can drag. That also works. So like I said, what we did for the column applies to the row. Okay, so that's how we do it. And I can also give them a fixed width. I mean, they should all have the same width. How do I do that? I will highlight the entire sheet, right click on any of the column. Okay, then I'll see column width. Once I click OK, now when you don't see a number here, that means you have adjusted one of the columns. Okay, that means I've adjusted one of the columns. What does that mean? I'll cancel this. Now you can see, let me do that again. Everything is highlighted. Right click, and you can see column width. There is no number here, because I say as the default column width. Now I'll cancel that. I'll come to sheet 2, then I'll select the entire sheet, right click on one of the column, and I click on column width, and you can see that it is 8.09 because I've not adjusted anything here before. All right, cancel. That's by the way. Let's come back to our first sheet. I can right click and say, okay, for the column width, they will all be 20. Let's do 20, and I'll click OK. Boom. You can see they all take the same width now. I can do that for the row as well. Right click on any of the number, row height, because in this case we're dealing with height, not width. Okay, and then because I've not adjusted any of the column of the row, yeah, you might remember that I just dragged 2 down. Actually, I did undo, right? So it went back to the original position. Now you can see that by default is 14.5. I can give it anything. So let me adjust it. I'll adjust one of them, I mean. And I'll go back here, do a row height, and see that the number is no longer showing. Okay. So yeah, what you do with that information, you decide that. Okay. So yeah, now we've been able to adjust row automatically, adjust the row height, column width, and all of that. Let's see how we can insert a new column, how we can insert a new row, delete the column, delete the row. How do we do that? Let's say I want to add gender between name and email. One thing is important: understand how Excel behaves. Excel, this spreadsheet includes a new row to the left. Okay, a new column, my bad, a new column to the left. If we're working with row, it includes the row to the top. Okay, a new column goes to the left, a new row goes to the top. I mean, it's the same thing, right? Because if I turn a column horizontally, left becomes the top. If you get what I mean, think about that for a second. Okay, I believe you get it now. All right, that's by the way. So a new column is inserted to the left. If you're using other spreadsheets, say for example you're using WPS, that gives you the flexibility to decide where you want to insert it, whether on the left or on the right. Okay, but by default, Excel includes insert to the left for a column and to the top for a row. Okay, so let's do that. I want to insert a new column between these two, so that means I must click on B. Okay, because I know it inserts to the left, so that means if I click and I insert, it comes between name and email. So that's the idea, and that's the reason for the emphasis. Okay, so I'll right click on the letter B itself, the B. Make sure you're not clicking on any cell. Make sure you're clicking on B itself. Okay, the alphabet. Then you right click and then you do an insert. Click insert, and you can see we have a new column. I'll undo that to take it out. Of course, I could have deleted it, but we have not done delete, so I just tried to undo. Control Z. Okay, now I just did, and we're back to what we have before. Why did I mention, or why did I emphasize on clicking the column name or the column alphabet? Let's take a look. Let's say I accidentally clicked on email, for example. I thought I was clicking on B and I clicked on email and I right click. Of course, I'm still going to see the insert option, though with some other options. And if I click on insert, I get this additional prompt from this dialog box. Okay, is this shift cell right, shift cell down, entire row, entire column, which sometimes could be confusing for beginners, right? What do I have to do here? I just have to click on entire column. It does the same thing. Boom, right? So, but to avoid all of this, just click on the column name, column alphabet directly, then you right click and insert. You don't get that small intermediary or intermediate option. Okay, and that's how you do it. Do not forget what applies to the column applies to the row. So now think about this for a second. See if you figure it out before I do it. I want to insert a new row. Okay, let me just duplicate this, or let me put in some data. Let's put in some data. John Doe, not those. John Doe, Jane Doe. By the way, for those who are not familiar with it, you might have noticed that to move horizontally while you're typing, so you don't do this. You don't do Jack, then you take your cursor to click here, then you do Jones, then you take your cursor again, right? That can be time consuming, trust me. So all you have to do is Jack, then hit tab to move horizontally, Jones, hit tab again, Doe, hit tab again, and then keep moving like that. But to move vertically, that's downwards, you use enter, right? So that's how you do that. I know most of you might probably know that, but for those who don't, that's how you do it to work faster, more efficiently. Okay, so I have John Doe, Jane Doe. I'll keep it at those two for now. For the email, there are different options. I can use a flash view. I can use yeah. So let me just do that for now. Just type it for now because we've not covered that. So I'll just do John Doe at email.com. Okay, so I'll do Jane Doe at email.com. So at least we have two data now. Let's say I want to insert a new row between John Doe and the header. Where do you think I will click? So think about this for a second. For a second, see if you figure it out. I want to insert a new column between a new row. I want to insert a new row between John Doe and the header. Where do you think I will click? Okay, I hope you figured it out. I'll click on the 2, the number 2. I'll right click and I'll say insert, and boom, there you go. You have a new row, right? So what applies to the column applies to the row. So I want to keep that in mind, as I might not do the same thing for the row again. Okay, once I do something for the column, just try it out for the row. Okay, feel free to try it out for the row. If there's any challenge, do not forget we have the comment section. The comment section is there for feedback. Okay, what can be adjusted, what can be made better about the video, what can, all of those, what can, oh, you could have done this, oh, this option is available. Yeah, someone else might learn from you. You can also put in some ideas that, oh, you can do it this way is faster, this way is better. It's an open university, a free open university for everybody to learn. Okay, so do well to use the comment section very well. And if you like the video, like I said, give it a thumbs up. It helps other who are willing to learn see the video. It comes up in their searches, and you can also feel free to share with your friends who wants to learn data analysis. Now, not necessarily data analysis anyway. Don't know how to use Excel better. Trust me, this is also the right video for them. Okay, yeah, let's move on. Now we can insert a new column, insert a new row, right? Do not forget that if you accidentally click here as well, and then you click on insert, you see the entire row, entire column thing. So make sure you click on the number to avoid the intermediate option from the dialog box. To insert a new row, click on the number. To insert a new column, click on the alphabet. Good. You're learning fast. I like that. Okay. So the next thing to do is to learn the shortcut. What is the shortcut to do that? On our keyboard, For some certain keys, we have primary keys and we have secondary keys. Primary keys are the actual keys. Secondary keys are the ones you need to do something else to get them out. What am I saying? Okay. Now, if you look at your keyboard, okay, let me see if I can pop up my keyboard, this on-screen keyboard here for you. Now, if you look at my keyboard, uh, now, of course, this is slightly different. So I'll just use this to explain. Then you now look at your actual keyboard. Now, if you look at this, I have W, I have 2. I have Q and I have 1. So that means this Q, this is QWERTY, right? The QWERTY keyboard, and that's where that all of this came from. So if I click on Q, if I click on this button, I'm getting a Q. What if I want 1? I'll have to click on Shift so that I can get 1 from this. So Q is the primary key, 1 in this case is the secondary key. Of course, you know, like that on your actual keyboard. And for those who used to have challenge of keyboard, sometimes you just might not follow the actual QWERTY, or say for example, by default, the 0 key, or let's say 2, is supposed to give you heart. For some people, 2 does not give them heart. 2 gives them another symbol, let's say double quote, right? So you can always use your on-screen keyboard to correct that error. So the on-screen keyboard is always right. I hope it's safe to say that, compared to your keyboard directly, probably the configuration or whatever it is. So sometimes you don't get the actual thing you're looking for, so you can just use your on-screen keyboard. How do you get it? It's your Windows button and search for on-screen keyboard. So I'll cancel this out. Now let's pay attention to our actual keyboard on your computer. Now the number 2, or let's start with 1. 1 has 1 and then another symbol on top of it, which is exclamation mark. If I hit 1 normally, I get 1. But what if I don't want that? What if what I want is the exclamation mark? Then I'll use a shift and the exclamation mark. Then and 1, the button 1, yes. So now you can see that I've been able to get the secondary key from that particular button. Okay. So why did I have to explain all of that? We want to insert a new column. By default, it's just supposed to be a control and plus. But the challenge is that plus is not the primary key on that button, on that key, right? So we need a shift to be able to get out plus. And plus alone cannot do the job. We still need a control. So we're going to do a control, then a shift, then plus. I hope that is clear. So we'll do a control shift plus. That means you're holding control, you're holding shift. You keep your hands on them. I've done that currently. Then you just hit the plus button and then it adds. So my hand is still on the shift and control. If I want to add more, I just keep hitting the plus button like that. Okay, so that is how you do it. Where can you find your plus button? Beside your backspace. I hope your keyboard is the standard way, so you get it there. If not, you have to use your on-screen keyboard to find out what is wrong or where you can get it from. Okay, so if Control Shift plus is how to add new column, to delete a column is Control minus. Unfortunately for us, minus is the primary key. So in this case, I just click on the alphabet and I do Control minus, 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 minus. I can use it to delete existing row as existing column as well. It works, okay. It just keeps deleting that way. So this is what we have. Don't forget it applies to the row. Control Shift plus and Control minus to delete again. I've pressed that a lot of times. Let me see where it stops. Oops. I'll bring it back twice. Where's my data? Okay. Alright, so now we can insert a new row, insert a new column, delete a new row, delete a new column, delete existing row, delete existing column, adjust the row, and yeah, pretty much we've been able to do quite a number of things. So most of all we want to do now, we might need to start getting from the ribbon. So not to make the video too long, I'll stop this here, so you can call this not the entire interface, so let's say Excel interface part 1, something like that. Or like I said, you have the liberty to title whatever you want. Okay, yes, and this is where we'll stop for this, and in the next video we'll be exploring the ribbon, right? The rook that just came to my mind from somewhere. Anyway, few people will be able to relate. Finally, do not forget to use the comment section effectively. Give feedbacks, what I can make better, what I can do to make the whole thing better. Your ideas. Oh, this can be done as well. Yeah, it can be done this way, it can be done that way. Like I said, YouTube is an open university. Okay, it's a school for everybody to learn, right? So feel free to share your thoughts, your opinion. The way improvements come is when there's feedback. Oh, you can do this next time. This is better, and all of that. They are all welcome. Critics or comments or what's the opposite of critics again? Is it, yeah, whatever that is, like good words. I don't know. So all of them are welcome in the comment section. And as I said in the, because we've not used any data sets here or anything, I might, I don't know, just check. So the Telegram channel will be included in other videos or probably this video as well. So you can get more resources, you meet with other data analysts, you see some job postings there, some other things, thoughts, right? Theoretically, some other tools and all of that. So feel free to take a look and use the comment section again effectively. Give a comment, give a feedback. If you like the video, give it a thumbs up, share with your friends, share with your colleagues, and again, we'll meet in the next video. Bye.